Well, here we go. Flight number 3 from Banff to Lake Louise and landing in Golden. Really a spectacular visual delight today. We can't fly the straight line route. We have to go via the rivers available and the Kicking Horse Pass, the famed Kicking Horse Pass where the Canadian Pacific Railway first cut through the Continental Divide. Let's see how we get on. Banff airstrip this morning, given her power. Away we go. Max thrust. It's a grass strip, as you can see. It should be no problem for us. The landing was easy. Oh, look, I can still see our friend. Is that our friend? Where is he? The Banff Bear. I'm looking for him. My goodness, I don't see him yet. There he is. Okay, away we go. Let's let that nose up. On our way to Golden. Gears up, flaps are up. It's the airstrip behind us. That's the direction we're going, behind us as well, so we have to do a turn here. Big right turn. Maximum thrust. And we'll head west-southwest. There's the turn going towards the west. We're going to continue to follow the Bow Valley with the Trans-Canada Highway on our left, and on our right is the Canadian Pacific Railway as we go westerly towards the Lake Louise area, and of course the famous Kicking Horse Pass. After the Kicking Horse Pass, when we go through that, we'll be going towards Golden on the Columbia River. Look at this beautiful, beautiful sunrise from behind. Numerous small villages will pass over. Of course, Canada being so sparsely populated, none of them are very large. It's only 150 years since Confederation or thereabouts. Beautiful view of the mountains. That's what a power line cut looks like to the right. Road and then the railway. And of course, don't forget one of the key things of the railway was the telegraph line that followed all along the rail. Huge source of income for Canadian Pacific Railway as well as the land. Now as we close in, let's do a turn for one of the most famous lakes in all of Canada. We're going to turn for Moraine Lake. This is called 10 Peaks and Moraine Lake. As we get closer here, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And look, on the back of the $20 Canadian bill is this fantastic view of Moraine Lake. Aqua blues and greens from the cold glacier waters, although that's not actually a glacier up ahead. As we leave the lake and go down towards the valley, we'll pick up the Bow River and the Canadian Pacific Railway once again as we turn left to the west. Keeping it low level so we can appreciate maybe what the railway had to go through. Here comes probably one of the most famous photographic sites in all of Canada. An iconic Canadian photographer by the name of Nicholas Morant worked for the Canadian Pacific Railway, and one of his iconic photographs was taken right here at what's now called Morant's Curve. Here it comes, big left turn. If you're in a car, you take a photograph like this with a winding train, you have something special. Now as we pass Morant's Curve, we're going to make another hard left turn and climb, this time for Lake Louise and the Chateau Lake Louise, another iconic lake in the Canadian Rockies. This is where the first major hotel from Canadian Pacific Railway was built, the Chateau Lake Louise, to bring in rich tourists, and boy did that ever work well. Back down on the Bow River, continue now towards the Lake Louise village. And here we are. Big ski resort on to the right-hand side of the mountain area. Of course, Lake Louise, a fantastic tourist village in its own right nowadays. With Morant's Curve, Lake Louise, Moraine Lake. My goodness, what a beautiful tourist area. Love those mountains. We'll speed it up now here a little bit as we exit the Lake Louise area. If you look up ahead, you can sort of see that it branches off to the right, branches off to the left. Off to the right is the direction of the Athabasca Glacier. I hope you enjoyed that video from yesterday. What a fantastic landing we did on the Athabasca Glacier. But we're going to make a big left turn here, because now we're just about to enter the famed Kicking Horse Pass. Here's the turn. Find that pass entrance, and there's the Kicking Horse Pass. That's what made the Canadian Pacific Railway possible through this area. A very difficult area, but the railway did go through. And there was a horse that did do some kicking, apparently. As we come up on this Wapata Lake, we're approaching the summit of the Kicking Horse Pass at 5,700 feet, approximately 1,650-ish meters. And this is also the area where the Canadian Pacific Railway had tremendous difficulties. It was a 4-degree slope, almost impossible for the railway to climb or to go downhill. We're in the direction of downhill now as we go towards the west. So they built spiral tunnels through the mountains in the early 1900s. Upgraded the track in this area, got it down to a 2-degree grade, and the trains can go now easily up this grade. Let's take a look at the spiral tunnels from the view of a drone. I'll drop a drone, and we'll go down and take a look and see what the spiral tunnels are all about. This was an engineering marvel of its day. And the Kicking Horse Pass wasn't the first choice originally for the Canadian Pacific Railway. They were going to go way to the north, 400 miles to the Yellowhead Pass to get through the mountains here. But in the end, of course, chose this route. Now the spiral tunnels are a little hard to see because the railway disappears into it and all the trees all around, but I think we'll get down a bit lower. We'll be able to see where the railway tracks enter the mountain. There's what we call a lower spiral tunnel and an upper spiral tunnel. Now you can sort of see the cutaway where the railway is going through the trees, where it enters the mountain. That's the lower spiral that we're looking at now. I have a graphic that might show it just a little bit better, although you can see now one railway crossing over the other railway as it disappears. There's the lower spiral tunnel we were looking at the top of the graphic. At the bottom is the upper spiral tunnel. Banff to the right, Golden to the left, and away we go. Having reached the summit of this pass, we're now going downhill, and now the water flows towards the Pacific Ocean. Previously, it was flowing towards Hudson's Bay and the Atlantic Ocean, so that was called the Great Divide. Across the village of Field, just past the summit, that's just a widening in the Kicking Horse River there. The river is just picking up some steam as it would be, as it were. We'll continue following as much as we can the railway as we head west-southwest in this case. I said we're heading towards the southwest. South, you can see the compass up ahead. Now we're even a little southeast, and something to remember in the mountains, are these compass directions. To go west, roughly speaking, towards Vancouver, sometimes we have to go south, sometimes north as we're winding through the valleys. finding our way, picking our way through. Once again, still heading south. There'll be a turn coming shortly. Checking on the map now to see exactly where we are. Don't want to make any mistakes. Sun poking its way through. Still heading southerly direction as we wind our way along the Kicking Horse River. Small village of Lianchoil. Can hardly see any buildings, but that's our turn west. There's the railway on the left. Trans-Canada Highway, which was built in the 50s, 1950s on the right. Well defined. Another village of Palliser, as we continue westerly. Checking our way, there's the highway. I think it crosses the river up here shortly. Oh yeah, it's crossing the river all right. Hard to see on the right hand side of the river, but of the Trans-Canada, but I can tell that it's crossing the river right about here somewhere. Big turn. Yes, a bridge. Over, under, over. Ah, wow, I've had so much trouble with bridges in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've crashed 3 out of 3 because the bridge is not really modeled correctly for going under, so I chose to go over that one. It's an exciting bridge. Look at how the canyon gets to be quite narrow here as we're continuing down the Kicking Horse. Wow! Wow! Did you see that? You gotta pay attention in the mountains. I almost bought the farm, as we like to say. Woo! However, we made it through. Look, the valley's widening. Kicking Horse River is flattening out. And there's Golden, British Columbia. What a beautiful name for a city. Obviously, there was a smaller city called Silver. They upped it by calling themselves Golden, as the Kicking Horse now empties into the Columbia River, the mighty Columbia River. We'll set up for a landing. Airport's on my left, gears down. Left base, as we call it, square it off. Starting to lose some speed, let the flaps do their work. And turning final for a landing at Golden, British Columbia on their runway, let's see, that's called runway 14 towards the southeast. Easy now, Kevin, you can do this. Ease it back. Whoa. Power off. Keep it straight. That's it. Look for a turn off. Brake. Yes. All right. Okay, we got it. We got that intersection. What a lovely day to go flying. Now we have to find a parking spot. One of the harder things sometimes in aviation. Let me see, off to the right, the fuel truck. Off to the left, oh, I see some guys. Maybe we have marshalers. Let's go to the left and see. Oh yes, he's waving at us. We'll go off to the left here. Down that airplane. It's my right turn. He says turn right. Turning right. Well, that looks good enough to me. I'll be able to park there. There we are, folks. Golden, British Columbia, through the Kicking Horse Pass. What a wonderful experience. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And look forward to the next one, the 4th in the series of 9 as we go through from Calgary to Vancouver. This time from Golden to Revelstoke. Wow, that'll be great.